Hey, I'm Bryson with Trick Tools, and this is the Eckold KF170 Kraftformer. And this machine is a pneumatic shrinker stretcher machine that is also capable of some other tasks. We're going to give you a full in-depth look at this machine, the functions of it, and why it's a must-have tool for professional metal shapers. So the KF170 has an over 6.5 inch throat depth. The throat height is just over 5.5 inches. This machine can be used on a multi-stroke or a single stroke mode. And it's fully adjustable as far as the pressures on the die as well as the stroke of the machine itself. So this is an air-powered machine. It has a big air ram inside of it here with an arm that's then being pushed up on that pushes down on your tooling here. So at that point you can adjust the stroke from a long stroke at this point, which is going to basically give you a little bit of a slower speed. But if you turn the stroke down, just for example, it speeds the machine up quite a bit. So obviously anywhere in between, it all depends on what tooling you're working with. And at the front of the machine here, we have the height adjustment on the tooling. So with this here, this can be turned to then push the tooling down or move it up to create a little more gap depending on your material thickness, what job you're trying to do with the machine. So this is how you can adjust your pressure. So you loosen the lever, you turn this down, and it tightens the gap here. That way when this is compressed and you have your material in here, you can put more pressure on your material or less depending on what you're trying to do. So this machine with the multi-stroke mode, as you can see, when you push down on the foot pedal, it goes all by itself. But on single stroke mode, all it is the tap of a pedal per stroke. So you tap on it, tap on it. This machine's really versatile. I've used it quite a bit for many different projects, and there's a lot you can do with this machine beyond just the shrinking and stretching. It does have doming dies and planishing dies that'll be available. We'll go through the tooling here in a little bit. But some of the things that make this machine great are its adjustability and the fact that you can stand there with both feet on the ground, push on the pedal, hold your part with two hands, and get the work done that way. Some of the other basic shrinkers and stretchers on the market, you got to stand on one foot and apply the pressure with your other leg. Some of them are hand powered, to where you're only holding your part with one hand. You have less control that way. This machine is great for a professional metal shaper shop that's going to be using it daily, putting hours of work on it, building a lot of custom parts and custom pieces. Beyond the shrinking and stretching, there are punching tools available, there's notching tools available. As I said, there is doming dies and planishing tools available for it. And there are some other tooling options, and we'll go through those. These jaws here are the standard shrinking jaws for doing regular mild steel and stainless. These would be the basic set of tooling that you'll need to make the machine do what it does. There's matching set of stretching jaws to go with it. Yeah, so we'll go over the tooling now and show you guys some of the different options that are available and what tooling makes this machine unique. So we discussed the basic tooling options for the machine for shrinking and stretching. To go along with that, they have these synthetic jaws that don't leave any teeth marks in your material. So they're great for really light gauge steels and stainless, as well as aluminum and other soft metals. The metal finishing process with these is really easy because they don't leave any gouging in the metal itself. So to go along with that, they have beaked stretching and shrinking jaws that allow you to get into the edges of pieces that have some pretty complex shape, as well as C-channel, and allows you to do both edges of a C-channel, so you can build different complex channels for different projects, and really a unique tool that you don't get with any other machine on the market. Hit the standard planishing tools that go with it. You have a flat upper die and a pretty low crown lower jaw die to go with that, and then you have a dome tool, which obviously a doming die, you're going to be putting a lot of heavy shape into a panel really quickly, but this will get you going on a shape where you're trying to get a lot of compound curve in it. There's also a punch tool available, which has multiple size punch dies available for it. Allows you to punch multiple holes one right after another. It's got a back gauge on it here that allows you to set the depth on it. And then with that, they have a clinching tool, which allows you to take 2 to 3 pieces of metal and actually punch them together, and it smashes the metal together in a way that it almost forms like a spot weld and allows you to join those pieces together. After that, we have a notching tool. So this one has a big square notch in it, and when this is pressed, you can do a square hole. It also has a gauge guide over here on the side that allows you to do different depths of like a triangle shape notch out of a piece to where you can notch something out, bend a piece of angle around. So we'll put up on the screen the different capacities of some of these tooling, and for more information you can go to our website and check those out. So before I show you how this machine works real quick, on this machine there are a couple of grease zerk fittings. They send you a pretty nice little grease gun to go with it. Occasionally, according to the operator's manual, you can look it up based on the amount of time you're using it and that sort of thing, on how often it needs to be greased and some of the inspection points on it. So with that, we'll explain to you guys the functions of the machine. I've selected the synthetic shrinking jaws just to show you the demo and how the machine works here. So if you got a piece, we've already done a little bit of shrinking on here, but basically we're going to shrink on these other edges. And so when you're ready to start, the first thing you need to do obviously is plug air into the back. Decide whether you want single stroke mode or multi-stroke mode. I'll show you guys on both of those. And so at that point, basically with this here setting your pressure, you can turn this down to an area where you're going to start seeing some movement in the metal. So I can see that there's not really anything going on here. So I'm going to continue to adjust this down a little bit. I'm starting to see a little bit of marking just from the jaws touching the metal, but I'm still not getting a whole lot of action out of it. So we're going to continue to sneak up on it, and it's really good and important to sneak up on this machine as far as the pressure, because if you go too far too fast, you can actually cause damage to the tooling itself and overwork your part right away. So it's better to sneak up on it and get your settings, you know, by dialing it in until you like what you're seeing as far as the action in the metal. So from there, now I've got this on single stroke mode right now, so every time the machine's coming down, that's me pushing on the pedal itself. And I'm actually starting to see some curve out of it now, so I'm going to switch it over to the multi-stroke mode, and then we'll kind of go back and forth on this edge and watch it pull down. So you can see that this has really pulled this edge and started to create the compound curve in here between both sides that we've now pulled and shrunk in. So yeah, so from there, if you want to go a little bit faster, you can adjust the stroke of the machine. So you can turn down the stroke a little bit. See, back where it was, you're going to have a little bit faster action. I've got this set to where right now these jaws are not touching each other when it comes down. So right there, they're not actually touching, but when you put metal in there, it's squeezing on it. You don't want to ever put metal in here, you don't want to ever use the machine without metal in here. You don't want the jaws to ever touch, because you can cause damage to the tooling itself. So it's very important that if you're going to operate the machine to test something out, you either don't have the jaws in here, you have them far enough apart where they don't touch, or you have metal in there to be able to let the jaws do what they do. So obviously at a higher stroke, turn that in a little bit, it's going to go faster. And the stroke adjustment is all set up in millimeters. So there's, I believe, 6 millimeters of stroke adjustment, or in this back piece here. So basically what this is doing is, as the air ram in the back of the machine is being pushed up, this, as you turn it in, is lowering the stop on that air ram. So the machine senses the stop and it automatically returns. So as you're doing this, it's limiting the stroke of the air ram in the back. So the more you turn it down, the shorter the stroke is, the faster the machine goes. So we'll just turn this back up here. And then on the front here with this, there's 8 millimeters of tooling height adjustment. So you can move this up and down, and it's only the top. You move it up and down up to 8 millimeters, and then you know, depending on the pressures of what you're working with, most of the time you're going to be in a pretty small range, not quite that full 8 millimeters. The tooling comes in and out really easily. It's really nice to change tooling. Quick release levers, loosen both of these slide right out. Pop them both back in, lock these, and your tooling is in place. So tooling adjustments and tooling changes are very fast and easy on this machine. Like I said, the control, being able to hold onto your part with 2 hands and stand on 2 feet and just use your toe to hit the pedal, really speeds up a lot of the work that you're trying to do. Another cool feature about this machine is that if you're doing a part that has a lot of curve in it and you need a little more room on the bottom side here, you can loosen this lever back here and the machine head tilts back, and that's going to give you a little more room, and it also creates a little bit different working angle, maybe for some other parts you're trying to work on. The foot pedal is easily movable. It's just on an air hose setup, so you can move it out here if you're doing a little bit bigger part, and then obviously if you're doing something small and you need to be right on the machine, you can move it in there. So give us a call at Trick Tools, and we can help you out with any in-depth questions you may have on this machine. Visit our website at Trick-Tools.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos on high performance tools like this one. And thanks for watching.